Sure you're ready for that, Mr. Whitman?
Well, wasn't that a waste of our time?
Incredible.
Blade. Do we remember the trilogy, folks? Do we remember how awesome the three Blade movies were back in the day? Like, back in the day before the MCU, before, a joined universe and whatnot. I mean, to be fair, I believe that all the Fox movies were in the same universe, and nobody will ever take that dream away from me. But Blade was such an awesome trilogy. And Wesley Snipes as Blade will forever be my Blade. As much as I want Mahershala Ali to be Blade, at the same time, with the way and direction that everything's going with this supposed film that's supposed to be coming out, it's not happening. Like, honestly, how hard is it to make a movie about a vampire daywalker who is a vampire hunter fighting and killing vampires? Like, how complicated is that? And besides, you have a template. There are 3 movies that you could go back and watch that will help you make this new film. But again, you see it every time when it comes to the new Blade movie. There is a delay. A director drops out. The script is not good. This, that, and the third. There are so many problems. Again, look at this. Blade is an ass-kicking vampire who hunts and kills vampires. How hard, how complicated is that to make? I don't understand. But that's the problem. It's the problem with the modern day writers and the modern day audience. They have to pander to every little thing and, DEI, all that nonsense. But again, that's another story for another day and another rant for another time. But it's one of the big problems with Blade. I think it really is. And you're going to sit here and say, oh, well, this, and that. Well, no. There was literally a movie on Netflix that came out, and it's called The Day Shift. Jamie Foxx is a vampire hunter who hunts vampires. Like, this movie itself, like, I was introduced to this movie by a friend of mine, and, she showed it to me, and I looked at her, and I was just like, this is the Blade movie we haven't gotten. Like, this is the Blade movie that is just like, this must be the prototype Blade movie that isn't officially Blade. It's a pretty straightforward movie. Guy hunts vampires for money. The story is that his wife and his daughter are going to move away. I believe ex-wife or what, I'm not sure. But they're going to move away unless he comes up with money to, keep them living where they are. And he ends up killing a vampire that's of importance. And it's awesome. And Snoop Dogg's in this movie too. So, of course, the movie goes up double. But, yeah, again, I really don't understand how complicated it is. Go watch this movie. It's straightforward. The action is awesome. The set pieces are awesome. The characters are pretty straightforward and awesome. And that's it. There's nothing of the pandering. There's no, there needs to be a moral of the story. There needs to be a message. It's just, the message is vampires are bad. People are good. They have hunters that hunt vampires. It's called the Union. And that's it. Again, no complicated, convoluted mess. And again, it's just pretty straightforward. I mean, to be fair, look, Snoop Dogg has a minigun. Like, that was just awesome in itself to watch. But yeah, this is a Blade movie that should be happening that is not happening because, these writers nowadays don't want to be straightforward because, all the pandering to the communities and whatnot. But you know what? If I had a Blade movie, this is who I would put in it.
Besides, as long as there's a war going on, I still have a job to do.
Oh, yeah?
minutes and you're back on the clock.
So my vision of a Blade movie would be picking up where that ending that was deleted left off. Because originally, we were supposed to get Morbius as a cameo in that ending. And, in my head, I was thinking they would probably bring him up in the Blade movies, or like he would show up. He never did. So, in like my vision of a Blade movie, I would have him as a antagonist slash protagonist. Like at first he's like Blade thinks he's the bad guy, but then it ends up that he's not, and there's a greater threat. And for this movie, I would bring back Wesley Snipes as Blade. Well, like as an older Blade, like how we recently saw him in Deadpool and Wolverine. And the movie would just be focused on Blade is coming out of retirement because apparently there are vampires roaming the earth again, and they've come back. And, at first he's a little hesitant. He doesn't want to come back. But he does come back onto the field, and, he's trying to get to the bottom of it. And Morbius would be the first suspect when it comes to these vampire attacks, because there are vampire attacks going on in the city and all over the place, and everybody, when they usually see who's responsible, they see Morbius. But, after maybe an integral fight between the two, soon enough it's discovered that, well, Morbius isn't really the one involved in this. Morbius has been trying to figure out who is copied, his DNA, or like, I'm not really a script writer. I'm more of just a story writer. But again, how cool would it be to have a movie where Blade and Morbius are, the central pieces of the movie? Like when I played Midnight Suns and I played the DLC for Blade and Morbius, I was like, man, this would be like a buddy cop movie between the two that would be pretty cool, like a team up movie. I'm all for team ups. I always want to see people teaming up in movies and in like comic books. I'd rather see team ups. That's always been my thing. But again, it's so simple. Make a movie about a vampire hunter maybe teaming up with a vampire to fight a bigger threat, which in my film, that threat could probably be Dracula coming back and reborn. But again, and I'm sorry if I go on a little rant here, but this is the problem with the modern day audience and the modern day writers. We get writers that will sit there and be like, well, this is my envisionment of Blade. And then they bring 5 different characters, 5 different side characters, and Blade isn't even the focus of the movie, which I think was a problem with the script for the Ali's movie. Apparently, he was like the 5th character in the movie. There's supposedly some sort of supposedly, I'm not even going to edit that out because it's just me. I don't have time to do all this stuff nowadays. Just if you don't like it, piss off. But supposedly there was supposed to be some sort of deeper meaning, some deep message. His daughter was supposed to, become Blade and take over for him. And I'm like, bro, what is the problem with all these writers that do this type of shit? And I apologize for cursing, but every fucking time they will do this type of stuff, they'll be like, oh, let's give a moral message and a moral meaning. What type of moral fucking message do I need when it comes to a daywalker who's a vampire hunter hunting other vampires? What am I supposed to, grab all these vampires by the hands and sing Kumbaya as the sun comes up and they all burn? No. No, I don't get it. I don't understand. And that's a very big problem. And that's why I say, where is this Blade movie? But we're never going to get this Blade movie with the direction that these modern writers and these modern directors want to take. because it's all about coexisting. It's all about DEI. Let's change every single gosh darn person to, to fit our narrative and fit the quota, instead of just playing it simple. Like, again, play it simple. Play it straightforward. This is what I want. This is what it should be. Like, you could have an epic movie of epic proportions with Blade, coming back into the real world after retiring for so long. Bring back Wesley Snipes, because at this point, just erase the Ali movie, because it's never going to see the light of day. At this point, that's what I feel like. It's just never going to see the light of day. They're going to keep saying, "Oh, it's coming," but it just never shows up. Make a movie that's fun. Make a movie that's straightforward. It has Blade. Bring back Morbius. Not Jared Leto, though. Please, God, no. Get someone else to be Morbius. I could think of like 7 different actors you could reach out to be Morbius. And just go from there. Again, like, any comic book nerd could write this thing out. And I'm a comic book nerd. So when I say that, it's of no offense. It's just, like, sometimes these things are you can make them so straightforward that, it's simple. It's easy. Stop complicating things. Stop trying to pander to the modern audience and give back to the classic audience. Give back to the people that have been watching since day one, when there was none of this, like, all this crap of inclusion and all that stuff being put into a film. Like, again, as Stan Lee said in an interview, I had that stuff, but it was in the background. It was social issues were in the background. They weren't the focus of the main story. You want a main story for Blade? It's like I'm a broken record with this, but it is a vampire who's a daywalker who's hunting other vampires, and that's it. That is the easiest darn thing you could do for a Blade movie. And honestly, I don't see the big deal. But we are left to sit here and wonder when we're gonna see Blade back on the big screen. And it's a shame, really, because we had an awesome trilogy in the past that brought us some cool action. We have the comic books lately with the recent events in Blood Hunt that are pretty awesome. And I don't know, just the legacy of Blade on the big screen is now left up in the air because we can't find the direction where a simple movie about Blade has to go. It has to be shut down. It has to be this, and that, whatever. And at this point, you know what? Leave the original trilogy as the main Blade movies and don't even bother trying to bring Blade back. If you bring Blade back, let it be Wesley Snipes coming back. Because at this point, again, why bother? Why have to sit here say, just cancel the movie? That's what I say. Just cancel the movie. Just cancel it already. You're trying to revive a dead horse. That's the problem with Disney right now, is that they're trying to revive a dead horse with this supposed movie project. And as a fan of Blade, and I wanted to see Blade come back, if it's not Wesley Snipes, then I don't want it. I really don't want it at all. But, again, that's just how I feel. And, yeah, I don't really know what else to tell you when it comes to Blade. This is my first video. It's just me here. I don't have an editor. I don't have anything. I have a phone. I have an app. And I just have an opinion. But again, what do I know? I'm just another YouTuber here trying to start this whole big journey into the YouTube world. I'm just Sam G. And you know what? I'm going to let Blade say it himself.
There's only been one Blade. There's only ever going to be one Blade.